For me, the feasible solution was always that you take autonomy as your baseline. And then you think, okay, what is the added for that? Because time changes, as I was saying. So, what you could have done in the 60s or 70s or even 80s, today you can't, because the situation has changed, the people have changed, and your government itself has changed. When I have made people hate me so much, how do I say that we can find a solution between us? That's the real question, and I wish I had an answer. I don't. I mean, when we say feasibility, the truth of the matter is that Kashmir has been, for the last 70 years, between a rock and a hard place. Independence, their geopolitical situation is such that independence would never last. They would end up always having to be either with Pakistan or with India. Obviously, as an Indian, I would prefer they stay with India. But I keep coming back to that one moral question. If our people and our government feel that Kashmiris are not part of India, and that is the approach that we have seen in the last few years, then with what standing can they say the future is only with us? I think they have driven Kashmiris away from us in a way that hasn't happened for the last 30 years. And what has happened in the last 4 years is such a departure from an earlier situation. One is at a loss. I don't understand why an approach of saying that these people are irrational, they're terrorists, they're anti-national. What do you think you can achieve when you have that approach? Well, there I think the steps are fairly well known. You rein in your counterinsurgency alone approach. You start to put some security and safety measures on the ground. Unfortunately, it sounds and is banal to say this, but you do have to have that healing touch. And you have to adopt a series of measures that show that you have an intention to reform. I would say, number one, learn from the past 15 years, which is a period in which we've had some of the most sustained peacemaking initiatives. Take the lessons of that. Learn from what Vajpayee did, and then learn from what the successor government, the UPA, did. The problem is, if you discard everything that has been done, I don't see where you start then. When I went in 2010, 120 young people had died. There was huge anger on the streets and amongst Kashmiris. And yet, within 2 months, they began to come to us and to think about how could they engage themselves and help in a peace process. Now, that should be regarded by our government as an enormous asset. I'm not sure I would be capable of being able to be forgiving enough to say, all right, I'm never going to forget what you've done. They don't forget, as I'm sure every journalist who's covered Kashmir knows. But they won't forget, but they will say, I will take that extra step. And I'm still astonished that when you have that extraordinary response, to me it's extraordinary, when you have been, punished so much, to still be able to say, I'm coming back to the table, I'm looking for a way. This should be considered by any government of ours as an enormous asset, and yet it isn't.